Robert Plank Show, episode 233. Personality, philosophy, and passion. Differentiate in the marketplace, create noise, and take meaningful risks with Frank Gibson. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the program. We're joined today by Dr. Frank Gibson, and he's a successful businessman, an entrepreneur, a medical practitioner, and a scientific researcher. And he's appeared on over 50 TV and radio programs in the US and Europe, including the PBS series and American Milestones. We're going to talk about some really cool stuff today. And the thing that really interests me and excites me about what Frank's about to tell us is that he's living proof that it doesn't matter what age you are, what age your customers are. It doesn't matter if there's already some establishment in place in your niche. It doesn't even matter too much what your niche is or what sort of changes happen. He has some pretty cool numbers and some pretty cool success stories to share with us. So, Mr. Frank, welcome to the program.
Hey, Robert. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited about the activity and what you do. I've been following you a little while, and it's good. So I think we're going to have some fun today.
Cool, and share some cool knowledge. And so can you kind of tell us about what you're all about and what you do specifically?
Yeah, Robert, my work gives people a chance to get their life back, restoring dignity, self-respect, and a chance to fix all their past mistakes. It's one of the best things I've ever done in my life. I put families back together, accelerate careers, and have helped 8,000 people restore their lives through a program that I created that helps people with alcohol use disorders. And that's an important thing in this country, because right now there's 15 million Americans that don't seek treatment for their alcohol disorder, and we're changing that. I had, as you know, my several careers. I moved away from an easy life into creating a new industry challenging the outdated addiction treatment protocols that we have in the world today. I started a revolution in the industry, and tell you the truth, I couldn't have done it without really understanding some of the things and getting some experts like you to help me understand what you do in the modern world when you have a product that everybody needs. It's kind of expensive for some people, but the point is, just like you said, you can do it. We don't have any barriers to anything we do, and that's kind of the message I felt in some of the things and some of the guests I've heard you with. So we can talk a little bit about that, and at the end we can talk a little bit more about our program and what we do.
Okay, and just to sort of make sure we're all on the same page, I mean, I'd kind of like to mention the program first. That way we can sort of talk about what you've done to promote it and sort of how you came from having the idea to having something finished. So, I mean, what is this high ticket product specifically, and like what's it called, and where can people get it, just so we can sort of follow along here?
Well, the program is called the Last Call Program. And I developed this because I had 3 state licensed medical clinics. And I realized that the horrors of alcohol use disorders were such a big problem to 18 million Americans every year, plus their families, and treating people that came in for various disorders, high blood pressure, blood sugar problems. About 40% of what I was being asked to cure were diseases exacerbated or caused by the excessive use of alcohol. I became aware that of the 14,000 treatment centers in the U.S., most of them are stuck in a 1950s era treatment protocol with no modern advances that utilize the current science of alcohol addiction. So I created the Last Call Program. You can find it online at lastcallprogram.com. It's based on science, not occupancy rates. With fewer than 7% of people in need seeking treatment, I looked at the barriers and why people weren't seeking treatment. And I had it in my clinics. It was $7,500. And my son, who was a lot more tech-oriented than me at the time, and let's get it out of a clinical setting, beat down the barriers and get it directly to the clients. We removed the barrier of cost, dropping the price almost $7,000. We also eliminated the social stigma because it was completely anonymous. It is. And we developed an at-home 8-week life-changing program that's proven to restore lives for over 8,000 people.
Awesome. And so you mentioned in there that, okay, so the problem that was existing before you showed up was that a lot of these, like clinics and places like that, they had like a 1950s sort of approach. And so, I mean, what does that mean exactly? Does that mean like they were more about like the Alcoholics Anonymous kind of stuff, or like what was the world like before you came along?
Well, I started this in 1993 in my clinics, and it was way behind then. It's catching up a little bit among the experts. What we have basically is a treatment protocol that's based on putting people in an asylum for 30 days and hoping that they can come out and control their bodies so they don't crave excessive alcohol. I created a product called Sobrexa that creates an opportunity for the body to change so it no longer craves excessive alcohol. And this was a huge change, and there was actually a lot of people against what we're doing because we're not of the abstinence side. In other words, all the other programs, and today even the AA and most of the treatment centers, they demand complete abstinence. But science proved, and everyone agreed, and that by 2011, the National Institute of Health, the Society of Addiction Medicine, this is a brain chemical disease. And you have to address disease because you can't go through life trying to control not drinking it. So what happens is that clients come to us and they could be drinking a half quart of Jim Beam, you know, a week or a day. And we tell them not to stop drinking because we don't want them to have to have a problem and have to go get detox. And actually, none of our clients have required an inpatient detox. So they start using the Sobrexa, and weeks go by, 2-3 weeks, they start to leave a drink unfinished. They start to not want it. So at the end of 8 weeks, just 8 weeks, they can stop taking the product. And that's just incredible, even for me. And I've been doing this for 26 years, and it's still hard to believe the potential of the human body to do that. And if they start to slip and they're looking for the third beer, and we're not telling them to drink, we're telling them that we'll get their body in a balance. Like my body's in balance. I drink a little wine, but most of the time, 3-4 ounces of wine, that's all I want. I see alcohol as an addition to my life. It's not an addiction. And 82% of the people that use alcohol never have a problem with it. So what we're saying to people is this is possible to rebalance your body because your body's amazing. We basically created a health plan.
Awesome. So you basically had this new solution. You had this Sobrexa thing that you use locally, and I'm looking at the package you have here. So now you're selling this at $690, and you have 9 bottles of the Sobrexa. You have a little bit of some sort of stress reducer thing. You have a DVD, a wellness guide, this whole like package. And so we were talking before this call, and so am I right in hearing you in that? So to take this Sobrexa thing that you the supplement that you develop locally, and to get it online and do all the marketing, it's only been 10 weeks and it's just exploded. Is that right?
No, actually, we had this in the clinics for until 2011. And what happened was we had so much media coverage. We started it in the 90s, and then we sold the clinics, and we created this company to just produce and just take only alcohol use disorder clients. And we had a large magazine article, 4-page, and it filled us up for the year. So we were basically couldn't handle any more clients, and that's how we decided we were going to go online, which we did in 2012, and that really went off the charts. And due to changes in the search engines, as you know, and the fact that we were deemed a medical product, there were certain aspects of interactive marketing we couldn't do. So we were sort of looking for ways to keep up with that, and we did real well. We spent a lot of money and got a good return. We had really good cost per sales, and those started slipping. So then, which I think is the challenge for you and what you do for your clients and with your program is you got to stay on top of this. We could have just sat there and end up with a huge CPS, and we started looking at other channels, and years ago we started seeing that there's some trends happening in social media. And my view was just like my view was incorrect when my son said, let's sell this directly to people online, and it went, we went to over 3,200 clients in the first year. So I started looking at it and listening to people, and that's really what you have to do. You have to listen to people and know what they're talking about, because from my understanding in the brief time we've been in it, and that's been 10 weeks, Robert, it's been 10 weeks since we really shifted our marketing, about the 16th of October, actually, to going after Facebook. And I mean, it's shocking, but we couldn't have done it without certain things. And I think that's what the important message is. And that certain things are just like we eliminate the barriers for people that need treatment for their alcohol use disorder. We realized that there's barriers and we're making a huge shift in marketing, but we didn't see them as obstacles. We saw whatever barriers were there as strategy definitions.
Okay, so what sort of barriers did you come across? Because as you were explaining this story, like what was going through my head was, well, he must have come across some sort of issue if he was going to sell it on Amazon. He must have came across some sort of issue with the Facebook ads and their rules. And then even on top of that, it sounds almost like you mentioned, there's a little bit of like the stigma there with like the any kind of addiction and alcohol addiction especially. And I'm sort of assuming that there was some kind of a resistance to people, liking or sharing things. So like, was there any of that? Were there any kind of, I mean, like just huge stumbling blocks to sort
Yeah,
of get
that, that's
past?
Yeah, that's a great observation because Amazon turned us off. We're a medical product, but we're not. We're a dietary supplement. But the media and and really the 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 online sites have kind of, oh, this is a great medication. It's not technically medication. So that's a barrier. We can go fight that. We can go fight Google for the rest of our lives and say, no, you should let us do this. We used to follow people every time they turned their computer on. Some little ad was popping up, and that's not right because if your boss is looking over your shoulder and ads are coming up for alcohol, so they didn't have to make us stop doing it. We just realized it was happening. So here's what we did. We looked at the marketing. We got a great marketing company that really took time to understand our company and who we were. And their point was, people have to know who you are. If you're going to use social media, people have to know who you are. Our marketing now, based on this new platform, is on educating people about the current of addiction. It's help-based, much more than transaction-based. Our use of social media serves as a platform for knowledge, positive exposure, and growth. It lets people get to know and trust us. And that's a great part of our exposure. The other aspect, Robert, is that social media, if you do it right, I'm learning a lot about it, but this is what I've observed. Social media also serves as a positive differentiator that can separate all of us that understand that from, in our case, from the entire alcohol use disorder industry, bringing understandable differentiators, no matter what your product is, that help people discern how and why you are their best choice, not only helps the consumer, but can break us away from inferior products that come around sort of copycats and maintains the value in our products. And I think from what I've seen that our marketing company is doing, social media is a great place to do that. And they've got so many videos up and so many views. It's just phenomenal.
Well, cool. And I'd like to jump into some examples of those sorts of things. Those some of that social media marketing that's educating instead of just saying buy my stuff and to differentiate. And so I went on Facebook and I searched Last Call Program. Is that the page where you're marketing this product?
Yes.
Okay,
Dr. Frank Gibson. Yeah.
cool. So everyone, if you go to Facebook.com and search Last Call Program, there's a handsome guy, Mr. Dr. Frank Gibson, right there. And so, I mean, so you've made these posts here, and so I mean, what kind of stuff have you been doing, and like what's been your mindset as far as posting this page and getting the word out?
We've been giving to people, Robert. We're giving people our message, who we are, why we're doing this. People, if they want to subscribe, for example, if they go to our site and they opt in, they can get a free guide that tells them, how does this happen? What's going on with the brain? Why is this different? And then there, I write something every week. I do a podcast that's just a simple, maybe 3, 4, 500 words. I just want to get this done. I want people to be educated. I want people to understand that there is hope. This is different. We're not utilizing this. The National Institute of Health's Alcohol Division, the NIAAA, has gone from total abstinence recommendations to what they call rethinking drinking. It's their new program. You can have 14 drinks a week, but you got to monitor them. You can't have them all at once. And we're in the middle of this big shift, and people don't know it. And 15 million people a year are suffering because they don't know this is out there. I hope they go to my product. We got a lot of time put into this. and we're passionate about it. But my gosh, if we had these things like for everybody, and it was anonymous and it's low cost and they can just do it in their home and they get this plain box in the mail. I mean, we're opening doors, Robert, that never been open to people in addiction and previously.
Awesome. I mean, it sounds like a pretty good solution. And so as as you're making these posts, and I'm seeing that you have like some sort of like viral content, like you'll have your like some like quotes or sayings and things like that. And you mentioned that you'll write like quick articles and things like that. And so, I mean, how do you come up with that sort of content? Is it a matter of just kind of looking around and seeing where the problems are, or like how do you avoid that writer's block and stuff like that?
Wow, it's interesting. I have a whole list of things that I want. I asked the marketing company. I said, "Kind of the topics you want that tie into campaigns and things that you do?" And they said, "No, the only campaign is that people know you. The only campaign is to know that you've got 26 years of your life and you want to help people." And I wake up in the morning. I wrote one. I thought this week. I thought I got to have an obligatory New Year's message, and I got up and that. I had just gone to my favorite place. I'm in the Keys, and gotten a muffin for breakfast. These awesome muffins, and I thought, okay, so I wrote about that because that's me. Because when I was doing, I was thinking, there was a time in my life when I was pretty rigid about things in my diet, and this muffin isn't going to kill me, and it's New Year, and so that came to my mind. I think the one before, I was out sailing on sunset and watching the sun go down, and so I think these things just come. And I hope, and I think people do. I get good comments, and people just like knowing, hey, this guy really worked. I mean, I spent 6 years researching this. I put it in my clinics in 1993. In 2006, I sold my 3 clinics, and it's not been easy. I mean, I went from very easy lifestyle to challenging an entire industry, and it wasn't easy. And but I think what's important is I get excited about my story. It's a story, or it's not the story. I mean, you got a great story. I got a great story, but people can understand it's their story. They make their own story. If they want to focus and perceive things as barriers, they're not going to achieve. There's only false barriers. So we came into this, and we could have seen a great barrier in the fact that 900,000 people belong to AA. And most of the treatment centers don't do what we do. But we changed the rules. We redefined. We designed a marketing strategy that changes the perception, not comparing it to what existed, but just changing the perception, opening people up, using social media and tying it back to their website, because that's obviously where they end up at lastcallprogram.com, and helping them understand, look, this is new. I mean, here's a good example if you want me to give it to you. Talking a lot here, and
That's okay.
you got good questions. But okay, let's take a brand. We walked into a marketplace that was pretty much sewed up by large companies and treatment programs forever, since the 50s. And certain brands that and all of us know, have such strong brand names that they're actually synonymous in the common lexicon. Yeah, and some of them had to change their names, like aspirin. But for example, take a famous brand, flavored gelatin. Now, how are you going to go in there and compete with that established brand? It's a good exercise in strategic analysis. What we did was say, hey, here's the modern science. We're getting a message out. If I was going to make gelatin, and I would say, hey, what's gelatin? I mean, I don't think people know. It's collagen from skin, bones, connective tissues of cattle and pigs and chickens. So we could say, hey, I'm going to manufacture gelatin with the newest, most healthy way ever conceived. Hey, folks, why serve the same old gelatin? Try our donkey hide-free gelatin. We make ours in the most healthy way with no animal parts. Well, we went into a marketplace that was owned by people who had a lot more position and money than we had. And we let people know, not that we invented anything that was against what was being done out there in the everyday, going to AA, but these treatment centers and the standard protocols are stuck in the 50s, and they're doing the same thing. And only of the 15 million Americans who don't seek help every year, only 1.2% of them, according to the government, believe that most of the treatment that's out there, it will help them. So it's a passionate message, but it doesn't have to be this. I think that there's so many opportunities in various media channels that, but the main thing that I've learned from working with these marketers that took the time to understand us, they, and the other thing is I've seen that you say it. People have to understand you can't try this out for 3 weeks, right?
Right.
And say,
Totally.
oh, it's not working. I mean, you know what? We're not even at the point where we're revenue based, because if we're not ready to start pounding these people with, oh, you got to buy our product. No, you can see as you're looking at it, we're saying to people, here's something to think about today. The numbers of shares that we're seeing on some of the most simple things, but it catches, something that's deeper for people than just simply, hey, buy our product. And I answer all my own emails. I try to help people. We've got a really great team of people. Our medical director, she went through our program. I mean, we're connected. And I think that we have such a great opportunity with the medias that are available to people, like as you guide people into these, to but you have to stay on top of it. And if I hadn't had my son and Carol, our vice president, help me, hey, look, things are changing. I mean, I thought this was kids using it, but our market group is the fastest growing. 46 to 50, or 44 to 56 is the fastest growing group from Facebook, for example. It's just crazy, and Facebook's past every media except Google. And how can you ignore it? I know
Right.
you
I
know
I mean,
this.
they're taking over, and I think there's some statistic that like I think the average person visits Facebook more than once a day, like as in like actually logging in, and a lot of people have a tab open even when they're at like their 9 to 5 job and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it would be crazy to ignore. And so I really like your positioning of that, which is sort of like, well, there's this, there's the established way of doing things that has this sort of low success rate, and everyone's been saying this is the way to do it for 50 years, and you kind of saying, well, that's the old way, but here's the bright shiny new way, and you've differentiated it. And so I'm sort of curious about like what sort of marketing have you been doing, especially in the recent weeks? Like we mentioned, there's the Facebook fan page of you making the post, and you have the free ebook. So what sort of actions have you been taking as far as like getting it out there? Like, have you figured out a way to do like the paid ads, for example, or like what kind of things have you been doing proactively there?
Yes, we're doing some paid ads, but we're doing them. We're not really focusing on it. We're doing enough to create some noise without, we're still in the phase where, from what I understand, and trust me, I'm not the expert in this, but we got some real good people in it. What we're doing is we're giving to people, we're letting them get to know us, and we're giving some things away with the free download. We're educating people. And the most recent thing we did was we're working on engagement. If you got 1.1 million views, then what about the number of people that are engaged? And we've got, out of that, we've got almost 250,000 of people engaged. I mean, they're going in and looking at stuff, and that's just a fantastic number. 23,000 shares. I mean, these are fantastic numbers, but the marketing company feels like, we're still not there. And then think about when we crank up the kind of budgets we used to run on for example, on AdWords, and then you've got all this movement, all this noise, all this support, all these people. I mean, that's what key. We used to use television cable insertion ads, to just, we'd run 11,000 ads, and then we'd come out with a magazine article in that area, and then so, oh yeah, I know about that company. Well, people are reading this, they're enjoying what we're saying, we're kind of taking them into a part of life that makes sense. And I'm the worst salesman in the world. When I have my clinics, I was giving stuff away all the time. I got somebody that can control it, but that's really, that has to be part of every company if you're doing what we do, which is we're helping people in trouble. These are unusual clients. They've got a lot of difficulty in their life, and yeah, $690 is not, $790 is not a huge number for people when they have this kind of problem. Hey, they've got 30,000 to go into treatment center, but it really is, because who knows what they've been through, and who knows how many years they've been suffering with this. So, well, I'm really excited about where I see social social media going, and the growth and the fact that it's a good way for us to really present this to our market. And you're right about most recent statistic I saw on Facebook is that certain age groups are spending 20 minutes a day on Facebook, and that's not the kids.
Right. I mean, it's growing and growing. It's for everybody now, and a lot of people are finding, I think, that if they don't have Facebook, they're sort of disconnected because even the 40, 50, 60 year olds use it to keep in touch, and so pretty crazy there. And so all these things that you've been doing as far as like the advertising and the social media. I mean, any big takeaways or any sort of things where any information you wish you'd had when you started all this?
You know, no, that isn't, because I felt like this was something that really needed to grow organically. And I think that if we had a lot of information and maybe pattern ourselves after something someone would done, but what I liked was this new marketing company. We teamed up with them and partnered up with them in the February of 2016, and I mean they just kind of took it and shifted over, and we pulled away and we tried things, and sort of like when you build a website and you try all kinds, you do split testing, you try different things. And I think especially with our product, no one's ever done this. No one else is marketing a product like this. So we have to really let our clients tell us what's important. What do you want to see? That's why Facebook is so incredible, because you learn it, right? You put something up today, guess what?
They'll tell you.
What,
Yeah.
right? They're telling us, and they're telling us what they want. So one of the things they led to, and to answer your question, one of the most recent things we did was this opportunity for people to get videos, and basically me talking about stuff. The marketing company came up with a video crew, and a guy who's very, very successful in doing this type of stuff. And he, they just kind of put me out there. I was actually in the field. My horses came over, and, they just, come on, be yourself. Tell them, why do you do this? And they maybe, give me one word and tell me to talk. And I'm engaged in it. You can tell, right? I'm loving this, Robert. I'm getting to tell you what I'm passionate about. And we all know that just because you're passionate about something doesn't mean it's going to be a success, but it sure helps in our undertaking, because we're telling people, trust us, we can help you. I mean, right? Think about it. Now you know me, but yesterday somebody called and said, there's a program, Robert, you can go. It costs $800, and you do it for 8 weeks, and 84% of the people after a year don't have any unusual cravings for alcohol. Some of them quit, some of them keep drinking. I can hardly believe it. And I made it. And so, that's just our approach. But nobody in any industry can go wrong by creating trust, I believe, and understanding that differentiators, what separates you. I do, I've been asked to do a lot of shows like you have. And what separates your show from the other shows? I get a feeling And that's the thing. It's not just a niche. It's about successful individuals who achieved their goal because they had courage and perseverance, and it was greater than any obstacle. And as I said earlier, if you're going to be successful, there are only false barriers.
That's a pretty good mindset, and I think that what I like about what I'm hearing from just like your personality and enthusiasm and what you've done, it sounds like you're all about just like trying different things and putting out different pieces of content, and like the marketing company like filmed the video of you in front of the with the horses coming by and all that kind of stuff. And so what I'm hearing from you is it sounds like if people are sort of afraid to put themselves out there or afraid to share this content. I mean, what's cool about social media and Facebook is that if your content sucks or doesn't get a lot of response, they just won't show it. And if you keep on putting these different sort of videos and images and short text posts and stuff like that out there, eventually you're sort of strike on something that resonates, or you strike on something that is popular, gets a lot of shares, and you can just keep on just doing these different experiments every day or every few days.
Well, and you're establishing your personality, your company's philosophy, your passion is establishing what you do. If no one watched those videos, I wouldn't make another one to go sell some stuff. That's me. You put me out there, run a camera, and the horse walks over. I'm just talking like you and I are talking. we got into this. We hit it off when we first met today, and we were like we're off to the races. And you're like, wow, we better stop and actually
Better start
get the
recording.
listeners involved
Yeah.
in this stuff. So, you know, I think that it's like the message to people is, yes, what I just said, but I think also the message is that sometimes you just got to go after it. Sometimes you need to risk it all without question. If you end up and it screws up and there's no money, at least it's you. I mean, this is how I look at it. If I lost everything and people watched my videos and read all this stuff, and the marketing company was completely wrong about putting my staff and me up in front of people and saying, hey, we don't have any clothes on, take a look. If it didn't work, I tell you, I still would have earned more self-respect, more integrity, more dignity than anything that money could buy. And
Right.
that's the message to me. You just want to be joyous on the last day of your life. You don't want to compromise, but you have to be incredibly aware because you got a challenging job. If you don't stay on top of what's happening, right? I mean, it's like you blink, I think, in some phases of social media and it just moves right by you.
Right, and who knows if someone else comes by and steals your thunder. And I mean, and as you're explaining all that, I mean, I don't know if it's like the personality part of things or whatever, but like, I mean, for all I know, I might live, 80 more years. I might live 8 more minutes. I might have a brain aneurysm and die or something. But I think that, at if I get up there in the years, or if I'm near the end of my life or whatever, like if I don't know, if I had to choose between either like having made all these mistakes or wonder like what would have happened if I actually tried. I mean, I'll take the mistakes all day long as opposed to like the regret of not actually having tried anything. So I mean, I can completely relate to that philosophy there of just keep taking those risks and keep trying those sorts of things out. And so I don't want to keep you for too long. And so as we're sort of winding things down today, like do you have any like future plans or any cool like tactics you're going to be doing with this marketing, or like anything on the horizon for you?
Well, I've developed a product that doesn't have a name yet, but has a lab name. But it's a product for post-traumatic stress. And what we've learned is that 85% of the people that have PTSD also have an alcohol use disorder. And I started out with, I think you might have seen on our sites, we do a lot of work with veterans and try to help them because it's tough. And so we're looking into this PTSD and we've tested it. We've had some really, really significant cases, and I'm excited about doing that because what I've learned in being open, and that's kind of what you and I were talking about earlier in terms of marketing. You got to be open, and being open about looking into PTSD. I realized that first responders, it's unbelievable. Emergency room nurses. I mean, there's so many people that are suffering with PTSD, and this product's going to be really, really monstrous. And we're kind of getting through this phase of the media. And of course, it's going to ride on the success of Last Call and Subrexa, but it works. And we've had some good discussions with people in the military and the State Department. So that's the next exciting thing. But you can tell I get pretty excited about stuff.
Yeah, but what I like about, I mean, it's always good to be excited about stuff, and what I like to hear about what it is that you're doing is like you're sort of you have that next thing already in motion, because who knows how many months or how many years it'll take to sort of pick up speed as far as like the name and the marketing and the website and the following. And so what I like to hear is that so you have this thing that's already working, but you're already kind of on the back burner, have this next sort of up and coming thing. And so can you let us know like where people should go to find out more about you and to find out about the Last Call program and Subrexa, and any websites or anything at all that you want to send people to?
Absolutely. Listeners can find out more about what I do and how our company challenged the entire addiction industry at the lastcallprogram.com. On that site, there's a free download for my guide on to how modern science has changed addiction. And that's really important because education is a huge part of what we do. And when you read that, if you don't need it yourself, I know you know somebody who does need it. It offers hope and help to the 15 million Americans who are not going to seek any help this year. So I hope they go there. You can get to social media, you can get to the podcast, you can get to there's in the news, and it's pretty much everything's there and easy to guide through. And I really hope that people spread the word about this new science of addiction. And I'm very grateful to you, Robert, for this opportunity.
Awesome. Well, I'm grateful to you for hearing about how you sort of took this idea. It sounds like a lot of people need into something that is there and it's selling, and it's been really cool to hear about just like your process and to hear about all sort of the ups and downs and the barriers that we talked about there. And so everyone should go right now to lastcallprogram.com to find out about there's a blog there, a podcast there, there's the Brexit thing there, lots of good stuff there. So lastcallprogram.com. And thanks so much, Dr. Frank, for stopping by the show and sharing some of your unique insights and mindsets and all that good stuff. Hey, it's Robert Plank. Did you like today's episode with Frank? I hope so. Make sure to go to robertplank.com/233 to get all the notes and links to Frank's stuff, and go to robertplank.com to check out past episodes.